Tonight on the program, we explore whether parents set boundaries to showing affection towards their children, and an expert analysis as to why there's a lot of misunderstanding. Then we explore the barriers to gender and sex education in Thailand, how cats can get infected with COVID-19, and how sweet indulgence relates to female empowerment.
สวัสดีค่ะ I'm Nabunag and welcome to This Week with Thai PBS World. Last week, an incident involving a famous music producer who was seen touching his daughter inappropriately and showing affection that looked sexual in his Instagram videos has sparked outrage among Thai netizens. This controversy also sparked serious debate on the limits in showing affection towards children as well as respecting children's bodies. One of our reporters, Chalalaktamanpen, had a chance to talk to the parents about what they really think about this issue.
Recently, a public figure posted video clips showing how he treats his young daughter on social media. That really made some people uncomfortable and sparked a serious debate about the expression of affection between parents and children and their rights. So, where do parents draw boundaries with their children? Let's find out.
เราเป็นยายเราก็กอดเขาประจำอยู่แล้วกอดจุ๊บก็บางทีก็เล่นจุ๊บก็ใต้คอมั่งอะไรมั่งบางทีวันนี้ยายขอจุ๊บพุงอ้วนหน่อยได้ไหมเขาก็เปิดท้องให้เราจุ๊บ
ก็มีนะถ้าเป็นหลานนี่จริงๆพี่จะกอดแล้วก็หอมแก้มอะไรอย่างเงี้ย
หลานผู้หญิงผู้ชายอะคะ
ทั้งผู้หญิงทั้งผู้ชายส่วนมากจะทำอย่างนี้ขนาดลูกสาวคนโตยังหอมแก้มเลย
ผมก็ยังกอดยังหอมลูกทำปกติครับทุกวัน
ถ้าแค่หอมแก้มแค่กอดมันเป็นเรื่องปกตินะ
Parents we talk to commonly express affection for their children by hugging or cuddling. This, however, is not without some boundaries.
น่าจะมีนะครับถ้าสมมติว่าเขาโตมาพอสมควรสักนิดนึงครับก็จะเป็นเพราะตั้งแต่เด็กก็อาบน้ำให้อะไรให้ก็ปกติครับแต่ถ้าเขาโตมาก็ต้องสอนให้เขาหัดช่วยตัวเองบางครั้งว่ามือเราอย่างเงี้ยไปจับส่วนไหนที่เขากำลังโตเป็นสาวแล้วมันก็ไม่ควรนะ
ถ้ามากไปมันก็ไม่ดีแต่วัยหนึ่งก็ต้องห่างอันนี้เป็นผู้ชายก็ยังจะไม่เท่าไหร่แต่ว่ากับพ่อเขาก็จะไม่ค่อยเท่าไหร่แต่กับแม่ก็ต้องเว้นระยะไว้ค่ะ
ยันโตยันเดียวว่าเขาแบบแสดงกิริยาไม่ชอบแล้วถึงจะอะไรอย่างเงี้ยแต่ส่วนมากไม่มีนะไม่เคยมี
ยายเป็นผู้หญิงถูกไหมก็เลยไม่ได้มองว่าอะไรอย่างเงี้ยแล้วก็เขายังเล็กก็อาจจะว่าต้องดูวัยไหมขอบเขตมันก็คงต้องมี
แต่ถ้าเกิดว่าลักษณะล้วงเข้าไปในเสื้อผ้าในอะไรเนี่ยมันมองแล้วมันไม่ใช่การแสดงความรักที่ถูกต้องนะ
After listening to parents talk about the issue, we can see that it can really be tricky. Of course, physical touching is an essential part of a close family relationship, but we cannot emphasize enough that parents really have to learn how to respect their children and their rights, especially when those children are young and unaware of what's going on. Hopefully, we can count on parents to make the family a safe place for all the children. Chalalaktamanpen reporting for Thai PBS World.
And as we said earlier, showing affection among family members is considered normal. However, it should never cross the line into touching their body parts inappropriately or hugging them or kissing them without their consent. On this topic, I had a chance to talk to Dr. Suryadel Tripati, who's a pediatrician in adolescent medicine. He has analyzed why there is so much misunderstanding about this among Thai families. At the same time, he also answered the question as to why is it so difficult for these people to understand about children's rights.
Teaching adult is really tough issue. You know why? The barrier is mindset. They still think about that all the kids is my property, or I can do whatever I can do. That is really misunderstood.
You must be outraged by his behavior towards his daughter. So, what are your personal thoughts on this issue?
Actually, this is some kind of misunderstanding in Thai family. I mean, mostly of Thai family, they also think about that all the kids they're rearing is like their privilege, and also like I call about the sense of property, they misunderstand about. It is true. Maybe if your kids in early childhood have to protection them, you can touch all the body. I know because you are carrying them, but if they grow up, I mean, they are become like in middle childhood or might be grow up in the pre-adolescent, should to be aware about. So, in my opinion, that is some kind of misunderstanding of the whole Thai family. They have to learn about the child right.
So, in your perspective, why is this so difficult for parents, family members, or even older relatives to understand that children are not the property of adults?
What I learned about, mostly of the family, they rearing their kids like an authoritarian or permissiveness, but not like authoritative. I mean, they love their kids so much. That is a good way. But might be what they rearing their kids since little boy, little girls, they still rearing their kids even they grown up like a preteen, adolescent. Some of them become a young adult, but the parents still rearing their kids that are going to be an early adult, to be like an early childhood. That is a lot of family rearing their kids like this way.
Exactly, but there is a fine line between showing affection by hugging or kissing them and kissing them or hugging them without their consent. How can we teach the parents on this issue?
You have to know about the sexual development. You know that mostly of the female adolescent, they become adolescent since 10 years old. And some of them also a little bit earlier, such as 8 or 9 years old. Why this is important? Because 10 years old, their body they will be changed, become like a breast budding, pubic hair at the genital area. So these areas become really sensitive area and not to be touched. Should to be learning in the way of life, beginning in their family. I mean, beginning from the mom and dad, not to be touched. Why? Because their kids know about that. Even my mom, even my dad, not to be touched in the sensitive area. When they grow up and they know about their right, and they go to the outside, they also know their right and protection themselves.
Right, but some families think that it's okay to do it because my child, my rules. I'm your dad, I'm your uncle. Why can't I do this? What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I would like to ask those parents who think about like the answer, the question you asked me. What do you think that the children in your authority and should to be protected by themselves? They learn about. They know about what is the sensitive area. They know about their right. They know about the other right.
How do you teach your family about this with the way you respect each other's spaces, where to touch and not to touch, and all these things?
Well, thank you so much. I mean, one is example. Not only how I teach my kids. Some of the learning style and life, the way of life is learning from kids. Let me example, such as whatever picture I take the picture in the family. If I would like to present in the Facebook, I have to get permission from my kids. It's not only right now. We do this way and we did this way nearly 20 years ago. My kid's elder son is 27 years old right now, and my daughter is also 25 years old. So we did since they was very young.
Basically, parents should be aware about the sexual development of their own children. At the same time, parents should set an example by not touching children's body parts first, and this will help them learn how to protect themselves as well. And another big problem in Thai society is sex education, because sex remains a taboo subject in Thai society. Not only that, the sex education itself is pretty outdated, and it doesn't include issues that are very important, such as safe sex and sexual harassment.
In Thailand, sex education is summed together with health education. Third graders aged 8 to 9 will take on the subject of what sexual harassment is and how to avert themselves from these situations. But is the third grade early enough? What schools are teaching them? Is it enough to protect our children? We asked students and parents that have children in the Thai educational system if they think sex education in Thailand is enough.
Some say that the curriculum is outdated, while some parents say sex education should be introduced before the third grade.
ช้าไปเพราะว่าอนุบาลนี่ก็น่าจะเริ่มได้แล้วเพราะว่าเขาจะรู้แล้วว่าคนนี้ส่วนใหญ่เด็กเล็กๆเนี่ยจะถูกหลอกไปง่ายเอาขนมมาล่อต้องบอกเขาค่ะต้องสอนเหมือนอะไรเดี๋ยวนี้มันก็ไวไปหมดใช่มันก็แบบได้เรียนรู้ได้ไวขึ้นมันก็ดีขึ้นง่าย
We spoke to 9th grader Yin about what she thinks about the things they are learning in class and what she hopes high school sex ed classes will include.
ก็จะอ้างอิงจากหนังสือเล่มนี้ค่ะก็จะสอนแค่เรื่องวางแผนการมีบุตรการคุมกำเนิดแล้วก็โรคติดต่อตามเรื่องนี้หลักๆค่ะคิดว่าควรจะสอนเรื่องการมีเพศสัมพันธ์อย่างปลอดภัยค่ะแล้วก็การ sexual harassment ก็ควรสอนด้วยการวางแผนครอบครัวหญิงคิดว่ามันค่อนข้างไกลจากเด็กรุ่นเจนนี้ไปหน่อยอะค่ะเจนแบบมัธยมอะไรอย่างเงี้ย
Meanwhile, my colleague Hattai Teshakitiranan talked to Guntida Rungrungkiat, an education expert who runs a school in Chiang Mai and a former Future Forward MP. She said education about sex and gender in Thai school remains inadequate.
Actually, the national core curriculum has been updated and also the learning materials. But what I've realized from my fieldwork is that many teachers in many Thai schools still using the knowledge or the materials from the earlier day rather than the updated version. And what I have found missing from the Thai classroom and as well as Thai families is the discussion of the right over our own body as well as consent, which is the core issues in really, learning about sex, gender.
While ideally schools should provide a safe space in which to talk about sex and gender with updated tools for educating the young, each family should also take responsibility. Guntida says that sex remains a taboo subject in Thai society. People feel awkward to discuss it. The teaching learning method has not really been developed. A lot of teachers have no training in teaching the subject the way it is supposed to be taught in the 21st century.
Then classroom should be a safe space that they can become very curious. They can ask the questions that they don't know where to ask. I believe that this is the work of families and schools. So start really with the families from the very young age about the body that a child owns and where to touch, not to touch, and who to report and all that to prevent sexual harassment that could happen to a child.
While sex education has been in the Thai curriculum for years, it has not been updated, and it does not mention safe sex and sexual harassment, which is something essential for children, so they know how to protect themselves. School cannot be the only venue for children to learn this difficult and complex subject. The family has to take part too. Stephanie Adair for Thai PBS World.
And now let's have a look at the other stories in our weekly roundup.
The Attorney General's spokespeople have promised not to release 7 former police officers currently detained for allegedly murdering a suspect in custody without concluding the case. A deputy spokesman for the Office of the Attorney General assured the public that the Attorney General will be able to decide whether to indict the men before their detention periods expire on November 17th and 18th. More than 10,000 day and boarding schools have resumed on-site classes, with the over 20,000 schools remaining expected to follow suit for on-site, online, or on-air learning within the next 2 weeks, according to the Ministry of Education. Over 35,000 schools nationwide have passed the Thai Stop COVID Plus assessments by the Ministry of Public Health for safe reopening for on-site learning. More than 190,000 hectares of paddy fields in Thailand's central and northeastern regions have been damaged by prolonged flooding, according to the Geoinformatics and Space Technology Development Agency, or GISDA, based on analysis of satellite images. Rice-growing areas most affected by recent flooding are Nakhon Sawan, Nakhon Ratchasima, Mahasarakham, Phitchit, Chayapum, Surin, Roi Et, Chainat, Lopburi, Buri Ram,ศรีสะเกษ Phetchabun, Suphanburi, Kalasin, and Sukhothai. The once famous Scala Theatre, in operation for 54 years in Bangkok Siam Square, was demolished earlier this week, and it was a heartbreaking moment for local film fans. The demolition, which began on Monday, came after Central Patana Public Company ended its leasehold of the Block A building, during which they have paid 5.9 billion baht to the property management arm of Chulalongkorn University.
And now let's move on to some lighter stories. And we have a very inspiring story for you tonight, which involves a group of teens in Songkhla province who are working really hard to help COVID-19 patients as well as elderly residents.
ด้วยค่ะขอสั่งหอยลาย1 โลค่ะ
ค่ะได้ค่ะส่งที่ไหนคะ
ส่งบ้านเลขที่21/4ค่ะติดกับบ้านป้าอีนะคะ
โอเคค่ะ
A group of children who did not attend higher studies have got together and called themselves Fat Piggy Bank Group. Their friends provided them with delivery jobs so they can earn some money.
โควิดคนไม่ค่อยออกจากบ้านอะไรอย่างเงี้ยก็เลยคิดว่าไปซื้อของให้เขาแบบให้เขาสั่งมาแบบไม่ต้องออกไปซื้อเองอะไรอย่างเงี้ยให้เขาสั่งมาแล้วก็เราไปซื้อให้แล้วไปส่งถึงที่ผู้ป่วยติดเตียงบางทีก็ออกไปไม่ได้ไงแล้วก็เราก็ได้ช่วยตรงนี้ไปด้วยแล้วก็อีกอย่างนึงถ้าสมมุติว่าคนเฝ้าเขาคือถ้าเขาไม่ได้เฝ้าคุบคนป่วยเขาตกเตียงอะไรแบบนี้มันก็อันตรายอีกเราก็เลยอาสาเพื่อจะไปตรงนั้นด้วยเอาชาเย็น1 ถุงค่ะแล้วก็ชามะนาว1 ถุงไรเดอร์
Customers living in the Boyang area of Songkhla province can place their orders via the call center. Then, call center staff who take off the orders will check the customer and whether it is safe for the riders to deliver stuff to their places.
ลูกค้าตัวอยู่กรุงเทพแม่อยู่ในเมืองบ่อยางคือทางกรุงเทพก็ห่วงคนทางบ่อยางแต่พอมีน้องกระปุกอ้วนไปซื้อแพมเพิร์สให้ไปซื้อเครื่องครัวให้แล้วก็ไปส่งถึงที่บ้านมันเป็นความรู้สึกที่มันเชื่อมต่อกันโดยมีกระปุกอ้วนเป็นตัวเชื่อม
ภูมิใจมากเพราะว่าบางคนแบบลูกค้าแบบคนชราอย่างเงี้ยออกไปข้างนอกไม่ได้แต่ว่ามีเรามาช่วยซื้อของให้เขาอะไรอย่างเงี้ยคือทำให้เขาแบบอยู่ที่บ้านไม่ต้องออกไปเองอันนี้ให้เขาได้มีของเงี้ยก็คือยังภูมิใจเหมือนกันค่ะทีมกระปุกอ้วนพร้อมส่งรอยยิ้มให้กับผู้รับแล้วค่ะ During the COVID-19 pandemic, many people have been hearing about cats getting infected with the coronavirus. Some people may think that it's fake news, but it really does happen. Let's find out more in this report by Gitipat Chunsukjit.
Do you know that cats can get infected by the coronavirus too? But what is the coronavirus in cats And what's the difference between human and cat strains, and what are their symptoms? So let's find out together.
At Cat Kingdom Chiang Mai, there's a clinic for the treatment of cats with a large area for sick cats to live freely under a veterinarian's care. The areas are separated according to the illness. One of the biggest areas is for cats with feline infectious peritonitis, or FIP, which is caused by certain strains of feline coronavirus.
ตรงนี้เป็นกรงในส่วนของแมว FIP ช่องท้องอักเสบนะครับแล้วแมวช่องท้องอักเสบนี่เกิดจากอะไรครับคุณหมอเกิดจากเชื้อไวรัสโคโรนาไวรัสนะครับปกติตัวเชื้อเนี่ยอยู่ในแมวทุกตัวอยู่แล้วเป็นปกติแต่ทีนี้พอมันเกิดเขาเรียกว่ามิวเตทเปลี่ยนแปลงร่างเปลี่ยนแปลงโครงสร้างนิดนึงก็ทำให้เกิดโรคขึ้นมาได้มันเป็นเชื้อโคโรนาไวรัสในแมวทำให้เกิดท้องเสียก่อนในช่วงแรกบางตัวท้องเสียไม่หายสุดท้ายก็คือเปลี่ยนแปลงร่างกายตัวเองออกมากลายเป็นทำให้ร่างกายรับรู้เฮ้ยตัวนี้ไม่ปกตินะฉันต้องต่อสู้กับตัวเชื้อทำให้มีน้ำออกมาในช่องท้องแล้วก็ช่องอกออกมาเป็นหวัดไม่หายบ้างร่างกายก็จะอ่อนแอโดยมากมักจะเสียชีวิต
There's currently no evidence that animals play a significant role in spreading SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19 to humans. More studies are needed to understand if and how different animals could be affected by SARS-CoV-2. The veterinarian mentioned that the coronavirus in humans will not spread to cats due to the difference in strains.
ต้องอธิบายว่าโคโรนาไวรัสเป็นกลุ่มของไวรัสชนิดหนึ่งที่โครงสร้างหลักประมาณ 80% มีรูปร่างคล้ายๆกันแต่อีก 20% ที่เหลือทำให้เกิดการแตกต่างขึ้นในแต่ละสายพันธุ์ขึ้นมาดังนั้นก็เลยมีเหตุผลว่าทำไมโคโรนาไวรัสชนิดนี้ติดคนได้แต่ว่าไม่ติดแมว
Adults say that it is very difficult to know just by looking if your cat is infected with coronavirus. The symptoms such as a runny nose make a lot of people think it is pneumonia. It has to be diagnosed thoroughly by experts. Right now, there is still no way to completely cure the cats which are infected by coronavirus. The veterinarians suggest that managing their stress is the best way to look after them.
ครับเวลาแมวป่วยเนี่ยก็จะเกิดภาวะที่ว่าภาวะเครียดแล้วยิ่งพอเครียดเนี่ยระบบภูมิคุ้มกันต่างๆของเขาก็จะทำงานได้ไม่ดีแล้วในโรค FIP เนี่ยครับก็คืออย่างที่พี่หมอแทนได้บอกว่ามันไม่มียารักษาเพราะฉะนั้นในการรักษาดีที่สุดก็คือจัดการสภาพแวดล้อมของเขาให้เขาอยู่ในภาวะที่เขาไม่เครียด
Adul said the stress needs to be managed first and the rest is to keep them calm. As for treatment, he said there is research underway on using medicine that is similar to that used in human. It is, however, not yet conclusive. กิติพัฒน์ เชื่อสุขจิต reporting for Thai PBS World.
And on this episode of Empowering Thai Women, I had a chance to talk to Pinjin Watanawit, who's the owner of the rolling pin, on her passion for baking. At the same time, she will tell us how her love for desserts are related to female empowerment.
I started this bakery because I have two passions. One is baking and the other is female empowerment. So baking really empowered me to have like a stronger determination to become better.
Moist and soft cookies, butterfly cakes, and creative ice cream flavors all come from Pinjin Watanawit's strong passion for desserts, which turned into her online bakery named The Rolling Pin. Apart from its indulgent sweetness, this bakery also aims to empower women to feel good about themselves while enjoying the desserts. While being bold, sexy, and free is the key mission, Pin revealed that it actually began as the result of a negative comment she received on social media.
Before I started the rolling pin, I took a picture of myself eating the cookie, and my friend commented like, are you trying to sell yourself or are you trying to sell your sweets? So that like made me quite upset, and so I made it my mission to show that women can be both sexy and free and should not be judged. I describe my customers' eating experience as getting cookie climax, getting chocolate gasm to make them feel good, because being able to feel good from within is empowering, and it makes you feel more powerful, makes you feel more confident.
Pin's crazy love for baking began when she was only 7 years old, when she was flipping through her father's cookbooks and found herself wanting to make these recipes herself. She started baking seriously when she turned 11, and her parents fully supported her and invested in making her dream a reality.
My parents, they know that I love baking so much. Like, they know I'm crazy about baking. Because I always talk about food, I always talk about sweets. They always support me, and my mom, she invested in my business, and she said, and she really wanted me to succeed, and she didn't want anything back from me. So I really appreciated that she supported me unconditionally.
Having a sweet tooth, however, is commonly associated with weight gain, which often discourages women from eating desserts. Pin strongly believes that everyone should be allowed to enjoy what they want to eat, as long as it makes them happy.
It's like a sweet escape, You should not be thinking about your calories intake. If you want to eat sweet, just eat sweets and be happy about it. And when you eat sweets, you choose the best sweets that work the calories you're taking. I think that it's normal for people to think that they're gonna get fat because it's sweets, but I think that they should not body shame, and I think that they should instead embrace who they are and eat sweets in a moderate level.
Running her own business comes with a number of challenges. As the female founder, Pin admits that sometimes she didn't get the same respect compared to her male business partner, who is also her boyfriend. Despite the struggles, Pin said that her boyfriend always encourages her to become a better person.
I think the biggest challenge would be getting the same respect as men. Even though I'm the founder, but when I interview new people and they don't know that I'm the founder, they would treat my male business partner with more respect. And at first it discouraged me, it made me feel sad, but now I try not to think about it, and I try to overcome the bad feeling, and I try to improve myself and by reading more so I can become better. Empowering Thai women would be something important to me because my mom and my grandma always empower me to become a stronger woman. They empower through being a good role model to me. And my grandma and my mom work really hard. My grandma is already 87 and she still goes to the office sometimes to sign some papers, so that's how hard she works. And so it made me feel okay, I'm gonna work till I'm that old too.
And eating what you love to eat will always make you feel good about yourself. And we'll be leaving you tonight with beautiful images of fogs in the north and southern provinces of Thailand as the country enters cold season. And that wraps up tonight's edition of This Week with Thai PBS World. From next week onwards, our program will air every Friday at 10:15 p.m. only on Thai PBS. By the meantime, you can follow us on social media as well as our website, thaipbsworld.com, for all the latest updates as well as analyses. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. We'll see you next Friday at 10:15 p.m. สวัสดีค่ะ